Warning: the following may or may not contain material deemed unsuitable for anyone under the age of 18. You have now been officially or unofficially warned. Oh, and to my mother, who may stumble upon this video, I am very, 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 very sorry. Not really, though. Okay, not so bad yet. Oh, the sad piano's playing, though. Oh, wow, I'm now actually getting a good look at what that fire did to her. Burns suck, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. I know it's just fucking art right now, but you know they had to do some kind of homework on her victims of horrific burns, and my mind just goes to recent current events right now. It's like, fuck. Finally, she takes her blouse in her hands and draws it off, her bra falling from her shoulders. And so, Hanako stands in the middle of the room, all but bared, save for her stockings and underwear.
This is me. All of me. My eyes are immediately drawn to the scarring on her back. The skin on her right side is a similar texture to that of her face, but it's also stretched taut and covering a much larger area. The scarring is by far the worst on the shoulder, buttock, and thigh. Just as my heart attack redefined my life, this is the event that redefined Hanako's. If I had seen this when I first met her, I'd have been in shock. Not only at the sight, but also the idea that something like this was survivable. But after having had time to get used to the idea, and after seeing the scars on her face, hands, and collar, my reaction is more measured. My reaction right now is not due to her scarring, but to her body. The fire happened when I was 8 years old. It was night, and we were sleeping when it started. Hanako's voice trembles, the shaking of her blouse giving away the fact that her hands are doing just the same. I curled up into a ball when the fire swept over me. Ah, fuck. My mother tried to shield me. That's the only reason I lived. Wow, that like paints like very sad images in my head right now. Hanako's eyes begin to moisten, her voice crackling under the combined pressure of exposing herself like this to me like this and reliving those painful memories from so long ago. I want to say something, anything, to make her feel better. I can't, though. I feel completely useless when faced with a situation like this. She's forcing herself to come so close, yet it's at times like this I feel almost distant to her. I'm sorry for making you see this.
Don't. It's fucking courageous of you for, like, stepping up like this to share this. But I've also been on live leaks, dear. I've seen, like, fuck tons worse. There's no point in denying the obvious. I think what I should say now, and what Hanako wants me to say, is the truth. What I genuinely, honestly believe. It doesn't matter. You're a wonderful person, Hanako. Your body doesn't change that. She looks at me for so long, her breathing uneven as she tries to remain steady amidst the emotions we're both feeling. It feels less like she's looking at me
then she's looking through me. Wow, that line, though, that speaks volumes, man. I won't get into it now, but I slowly walk towards her and gently place my hands on her shoulders as she lets go of her blouse. She gasps a little, not in fright, but in simple startlement. Being so close to her causes my mind to become a jumble of feelings. The scarring on her shoulder, plain to see and leather-like to the touch, conflicts strangely with her otherwise soft skin and silky dark hair. Hanako is a girl, with all that entails. She's taller than usual for a woman, but still has curves in all the right places. The nape of her neck, just visible thanks to her hair slung over her shoulder, is alluring.
I know that I'm not pretty like Lily. I just wanted you to see me. The real me.
Aw, Hanako, girl. Don't you see at this point? We've already seen the real you. I'm over my man! Oh, yeah! His soul! Upgrading the stand user ability. Yeah! Oh, dude. High five. More high fives. You and me, brother. Yeet. Focus. I kind of ruined the moment there. Oh, you didn't need to take off your clothes for that. Oh, we've got boobs! Okay. We knew this day was coming. I actually didn't think I'd make it this far, but the day has come. Alright. Editing skills will have to improve. We'll cross that bridge when we're done. We've got a chapter to finish. Her lips are open. Just a little. She lets out a sharp breath without thinking. I breathlessly lean forward and press my lips to hers. The kiss only lasts for a fleeting moment before our faces part. Our breathing quick and nervous. The feeling of Hanako's mouth lingers, and her eyes remain locked to mine. Trembling a little myself, I remove my tie and begin undoing the buttons of my shirt. Hanako remains standing where she is, looking at the ground in front of her rather than watching me undress, which is good. That's a shame, because I would have put on a show for her. That's actually good. That would have ruined the moment. On the one hand, I'm thankful for that. I've always been somewhat self-conscious of my body, but my scarring has made that quite a lot worse. On the other, though, this atmosphere feels very strange. My shirt falls to the floor in a heap, as untidy and crumpled as Hanako's blouse and skirt. Hanako's entire body visibly flinches at the sound of the zipper of my trousers being pulled down. My trousers join the floor on Hanako, who is my trousers join my shirt on Hanako's floor next to the bed, as do my socks in short measure. I hesitate before taking off my boxers, and end up leaving them on. They represent the last hurdle I don't think I can overcome quite yet. Sheer embarrassment stops me, along with not wanting Hanako to get even more worked up. My unease about the situation has also left me, needing my own stimulation. Hanako. She gives a nod without so much as glancing at me, and makes her way to the bed as I do. She walks as if her legs were wooden sticks. I find it amusing if I weren't doing exactly the same thing. I imagine, like, none of us are using our knees. We're just kind of waddling. I take the initiative, turning around and sitting on the side of the bed. I look to her face to invite her to take a seat either next to me or in front of me, but end up awkwardly looking down to stop myself from staring at her body. Nevertheless, she takes her cue and reluctantly sits between my legs. As she does, a rush of sensations hit me all at once. The feeling of her behind against my crotch is the most obvious, but her scent is just as strong. Was gonna make a very, very inappropriate joke, but I'm gonna leave whatever that was to the imagination of the viewers. She worked up a slight sweat already from her nervousness, and the smell and feeling of her hair is washed across my face. I try to put on a smile and try to make the situation a bit more comfortable for her, but it feels really stilted. Deciding to try and move things along, one hand finds itself on her breast, and the other rests on her leg. Her lips purse tightly together, as she tries, unsuccessfully, to suppress a squeal of surprise at the action. Sorry, I didn't mean to startle you. Why is my voice getting like this? Hanako takes a breath and shakes her head as her only reply. A gulp comes from deep in my throat before beginning to move my hand around, feeling and massaging her breasts and nipple. It feels really nice, giving way underneath my palm with just a little firmness. For a while, I don't think it's helping her get into the mood at all, but slowly her eyelids begin to lower. Her breathing slows to a more rhythmic pattern, and her body begins to relax into mine. It's newly satisfying to be able to make Hanako feel like this. Definitely better than the feeling of her body alone. I can sense a little hard bump brushing against my fingers, that wasn't there before, too. I slowly move my hand downwards, trying not to surprise her too much. She gives no protest, and my fingers soon begin to move up and down on the soft groove between her legs. Her body is pressed against mine now, a thin sheen of sweat on both of us. She feels warm, and all this has been and more than served to arouse me, as well as her. Hanako gives a small gasp, my fingers pressing a little harder and moving a little faster almost instinctively. The girl in front of me, the girl pressing against me. I want her, all of her. I stop moving my fingers, making Hanako give a long breath of relief from the feelings welling up inside her. Her face looks to mine a little, silent but expectant. All I do is nod. I don't know which of us is more apprehensive right now. I push myself back onto the bed, extricating myself from Hanako with a certain amount of reluctance. For her part, she slides back and lies down with her head on her pillow, breathing heavily all the while. Hanako laying in front of me, her panties darken, her chest heaving, her face flushed, and her eyes looking into mine. Her scars just make her look all the more unique. I'm left without words as she allowed me to see her like this. I bring myself closer to her, closing my hands on her waist. Fuck. I wait for her to nod before taking the delicate hold of her stockings, taking them up a bit as gently as I can. I don't think I can get them off without tearing them, so I end up leaving them on her legs and moving her panties aside. Hanako lies practically naked on the bed. Her most delicate parts and the scarring of her body are now plain to see. Bringing my finger to her crotch, I stroke her a little more, causing her breath to catch. She should be okay if she's this aroused, so I open my boxers and move myself up a little on the bed. Hanako's entire body tenses as I bring myself closer to her, her eyes widening. She's scared? I take a long breath before realizing something I should have thought of before. I close my eyes and concentrate deeply. Did we bring protection? Is there a rubber glove in the drawer we can use? My heart thumps away as I focus my mind on its beating. It's faster than usual. Well, of course. But the beat is regular. I think. I can keep it in check if I take this slowly. Yeah, the heart thing, that's important. Did anyone bring a condom?
Are you okay?
I open my eyes and look at her. I guess that must have looked pretty worrying to someone else watching me. I'm okay. I was just making sure that I was. She hesitates a little before nodding. She looks a little less afraid than before, so maybe showing her that I was also worried helped reassure her. I lean over and press my lips to hers, our tongues tentatively touching. I can feel her body becoming less tense under mine, so it's getting both of us back into the right mood. Then I remembered something and pull back. A condom? I lean over the side of the bed where my trousers are, my hand reaching for the back pocket. I feel around blind for a few seconds, until a little foil, a square, brushes just underneath my fingertip. I quickly pull it out and right myself on the bed, sitting back from Hanako a little, and fiddling with the packet. It takes a little while for everything to go on correctly, but eventually the rubber sleeve covers what it should, fitting snugly. Thank God. My slight confusion is, at my first time trying to work a condom, seems to have amused her a little. And as I position myself over her, we share a small nervous laugh. Now, though, I need to try and concentrate. I look down and try to get my knees and waist in what I think are the right places, and take my penis. I'm sorry, this is all coming out just blindsided me after some of the other fucking bizarre adventures I've had so far in this game. And take my penis in my slightly shaking hand. Hanako's face is looking at mine, but her eyes are pointed down at where our crotches meet. Full focus. With a short breath, I position the head and push my hips forward. I don't think I should do the certain sound effects that might make this situation way more awkward than it already is. In one stroke, I push myself fully inside of her. The rush of sensations and emotions fills my head, and Hanako yelps in pain. Looking at her face makes me feel uneasy. I mistakenly pushed too hard and too fast, and caused her more pain than necessary. Neither of us really knows what we're doing. And the last thing I wanted to do was hurt her. Hanako opens her eyes again and looks towards me. She must have seen how troubled I look, and she tries her best to put on a happy face. It's not very convincing at all. I look down and begin, slowly, to move my hips again after giving her a few moments to recover. The movement feels really unnatural, and I can feel muscles moving all over my lower body that I haven't felt moving this way before. I know I'm putting stress on my heart that I probably shouldn't, and as well, and with every movement, I keep track of my heart's beat. The feeling inside of Hanako is soft and warm, and if not for the condom deadening a little of the sensation, I doubt I'll be able to last very long at all. Her soft gas and constant movements don't help at all either. For Hanako's part, the look of pain doesn't really seem to be dissipating as I'd hope. Her scar tissue causes one side of her body to move a little differently from the other, and strands of her hair are now sticking to her face. I put my arms around her body and lift up a little. After some squirming from the both of us, we try positioning ourselves a bit differently to minimize her pain. With my hands holding her legs, both of us are moving in less and less measured movements by now. The smell of Hanako fills my senses, and from this position, I'm not stressing my body quite as much. My sense of time seems distorted, and I feel like I'm starting to get faint from hyperventilating. I want Hanako to feel good, though, and I can't stop now that we've reached this point. A new wave of pleasure suddenly begins to wash over me. My feelings are beginning to well up, and I don't think I control them anymore. I speed up, concentrating less and less on pacing myself. Every time it feels like, God damn it, done! What the fuck, dude? Where was I? From the sound she's making. I don't think this... That's literally the equivalent of Don bursting into the room with a message. God damn it. I don't think this position's helped Hanako feel much better. And I don't think I'm going to be able to hold her much longer either. I turn and lay her back down on the bed. Both of us well beyond the point of doing anything but reaching the end. God damn it, Don! Son of a bitch! One thrust after another, I begin to feel that point coming, frantically tensing myself to try and stave it off as long as I can. Hanako! Hanako gives a small shriek as my mind blanks. My waist hits hers with a fair amount of force, and I hit the point of climax, and I can feel myself twitching inside of her. Her body twists and turns under mine, only heightening the feelings of euphoria. Whiteout, what is my time? Holy crap, this has been a long episode. And then, after a couple of seconds... I hope this whole experience, despite me taking several minutes to read through, actually wasn't a few seconds. The sound of Hanako's breathing and my own rings in my ears, almost painfully loudly. Hanako holds an arm over her face, her mouth open and gulping in air. As I hold myself over her, suddenly my arms almost give way and my vision distorts, as if someone grabbed it and pulled sideways. I let myself fall sideways onto the bed beside the panting Hanako, for fear of falling onto her instead. That usually ruins the moment. We both lie beside each other, naked and pressed against one another in order to fit on a bed made for a single person. My eyes try to focus on the ceiling, to not much success. Pulling a blanket over us to stave off the cold is all I can do. The only sound in the room is that of our breathing. The sweat that had accumulated on our body feels uncomfortable. We're both physically and emotionally exhausted. And a complete mess all over. There comes the heart attack. My vision slowly begins to turn to normal, as I continue to stare at the ceiling. But my limbs still feel like jelly. I try to concentrate on my chest, and find its beat irregular and mildly painful. This is a dangerous time. I have to think this through and not panic, lest I make my situation any worse. With a huge effort, I take control of my erratic breathing, forcing myself to make long, deep breaths. I count half a dozen before I start to feel physically calm again, and press my hand to my chest to assure myself. My heartbeat's back to normal. I'm okay! Hi, Hanako. What a crazy adventure we've had this episode. I feel like maybe this chapter might be almost over, so I think I should finish it. I turn my face towards Hanako, who's already looking at me. Her expression looks pretty dazed, but underneath that, there's definitely a look of concern. She's realized what happened. I'm okay. Everything's back to normal. I found myself barely able to get the words out between breaths. I don't think sex would tire a normal body out this much, so I have no doubt my condition's at least partially at fault. Why did my body have to do this right now? All thoughts of my heart, though, are pushed aside as I see a wide smile forming on Hanako's face. Oh, now we're having a sweet moment again. As always, I smile back without another thought. Hanako's smile has always been infectious, and its almost childlike sweetness and earnesty, something that sets her apart from anyone else I know. Right now, we don't need words. Everything we want to communicate to each other, we can share just fine without them. And I die anyway, I guess. Oh, wow, that was the end of the chapter. Hell yeah, I'm kind of super glad that I did not cut it out there. Holy crap. Took the words right out of my mouth, Hisao, my man. We have reached the end of another chapter. I have a sneaking suspicion that after that, we must have only 1 or 2 chapters at most left. Holy shit, folks. Wow. No other words but to wrap this up and start my editing. If you enjoyed this bizarre adventure through Katawa Shoujo, give the video a like, subscribe to the channel to see more. Yes, more of not only Katawa Shoujo, but a whole bunch of other videos that you'll find in the library. Take a look around. You might find something you like. There's that professionalism again. Follow the Facebook page to keep up with all the news and any other content that I may post, such as like when videos are posted. Also, hop on board the Ryman Discord gaming channel. Yes, there's a Discord now for all this. It's just a place for all of us like-minded, deranged individuals to gather up, chew the fat, have fun, share shit, and game with one another. Alright, guys. Whew. Let me fucking close out this extra long chapter. Adios.